Hello, it's 4 minutes o'clock on All News Nigeria. I am Okwemi Olubemi. Here are the headlines for today. Wagner mercenaries rebel against Putin, stirring civil war. The United States says Wagner rebellion exposes cracks in Putin's government. Now the news. In the wake of the Wagner uprising, with Russia escaping the brink of a civil war, an uneasy calm descended across the country. The supposed coup started with Prigozhin's online rants against Russia's military leaders that had been going on for months. He had previously accused Shoigu and Commander-in-Chief Valery Gerasimov of depriving his Wagner troops of ammunition, of sacrificing Russian soldiers in disastrous missions, and of seizing eastern Ukraine in order to plunder it. The feud escalated dramatically on 10th June 2023 when Shoigu announced that Wagner soldiers would have to sign contracts with his ministry. In effect, Wagner would cease to exist. Putin seemingly endorsed the proposal. Prigozhin, once Putin's trusted ally, was at a personal crossroads. He might accept the Kremlin's decision, or he could fight back. The answer came on Friday evening when he posted another provocative video on his Telegram channel. It showed the apparent aftermath of a missile strike on a leafy Wagner camp. The location was somewhere in occupied Donbass. According to the New York Times, Prigozhin had been contemplating a mutiny for some time. United States spy agencies picked up indications of a serious plot. Intelligence officials briefed a small group of congressional leaders in Washington last Thursday. The concern was what might happen to Russia's nuclear arsenal if it fell into the wrong hands. Moscow, by contrast, appeared to be in the dark about Prigozhin's intentions. On Friday evening, a column of armored vehicles with Wagner soldiers perched on top exited Ukraine. They crossed the international border and trundled serenely towards Rostov-on-Don, a city more than 1 million people and a busy logistics center for the Ukraine war. Nobody stopped them. This unforeseen development stormed the Kremlin. They constituted the biggest challenge to Putin's authority since he became president in 2000. The Russian president had railed against the West for years, accusing leaders in the United States and the United Kingdom of seeking to destabilize his regime. And yet, it was Prigozhin, a friend and restaurant owner who had personally served Putin dinner in St. Petersburg, who was wielding the knife. There was a swirl of questions. Did groups within Russia's military and security elites covertly support the rebels? And if it came to it, would regular soldiers open fire on their Wagner comrades? Most of the army was away serving in Ukraine. Rosgardeva, the internal security division, was no match for Prigozhin's experienced fighters. Neither was Putin's old FSB spy agency. Events were moving at dizzying speed. At 10 a.m. on Saturday, Putin addressed the nation. Looking white-faced and furious, he accused Wagner of endangering the constitution and committing treason. He promised harsh punishment and legal measures against mutineers. Meanwhile, the rebellious mercenary commander said on Saturday he ordered his mercenaries to halt their march on Moscow and retreat to field camps in Ukraine, appearing to defuse a dramatically escalating crisis that represented the most significant challenge to President Vladimir Putin in his more than 2 decades in power. In other news, a day after the renegade Wagner mercenaries almost sparked a civil war in Russia, the top United States diplomat has said the uprising showed real cracks in Vladimir Putin's government and may offer Ukraine a crucial advantage as it conducts a counter-offensive that could influence the outcome of the war. Antony Blinken, the United States Secretary of State, said the upheaval triggered by the aborted advance on Moscow by Yevgeny Prigozhin's Wagner mercenaries on Saturday was far from over. Neither Prigozhin nor Putin have been heard from since coming to a last-minute agreement on Saturday to avert clashes near Moscow between mercenaries and regular Russian troops. The rebellion, fueled by anger at the Kremlin leadership of the invasion and occupation of Ukraine, represented the most direct threat to Putin's grip on power since he became president 23 years ago. With no word from Putin or Prigozhin throughout the day, it was unclear whether Russia's immediate crisis had passed, let alone what implications it had for the vast country's longer-term stability. Wagner troops abandoned the positions they had held in the city of Rostov-on-Don and near Moscow, while Russian officials claim to have dropped criminal charges against Prigozhin and reopened Wagner recruiting centers. Russian military insiders eagerly discussed rumors of an impending shakeup at the Ministry of Defense, one of the main demands issued by Prigozhin during his uprising. However, the Kremlin appeared keen to slow down developments, saying that Putin had no more plans to address the country and that the invasion of Ukraine would continue as planned. Other top Russian officials and propagandists are also remained quiet, leaving an information vacuum that has been filled with rumors about the deal hammered out with Prigozhin and whether the Kremlin will seek revenge once the immediate threat to Putin's power recedes. Blinken described the weekend's events as a direct challenge to Putin's authority. He said there was no sign so far of senior Kremlin figures being dismissed as part of any deal between Prigozhin and Moscow. Prigozhin had demanded the removal of the defense minister Sergei Shoigu and the chief of general staff Valery Gerasimov. And that's it on today's news. Keep up with All News Nigeria. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. I am Opeyemi Olubemi. Do have a lovely evening.